Hello gamers, this is Tabor, and today we're going to be reacting to the Destiny 2 Lightfall Strand Developer Insights. So without further ado, let's watch this. Ooh, intense right off the bat. All our Strand supers, so well, I guess
That's
the Warlock and Hunter.
Super epic, just to introduce a new
the Titan
damage
love.
type.
What's cool about Strand is it can take so many forms.
The first time players see some new super action for Strand is going to be really exciting.
Bungie Developer Insights, Strand.
Strand is this network of metaphysical connection. Objects, people, past, present, future. We call it the weave. Anytime a guardian needs to use Strand, revealing all the strands around them, reaching in, weaving weapons.
I really like the concept of strands.
Each of the supers kind of reflect that idea.
Vex network
weaving
aesthetic.
into needles, weaving it into a giant rope dart, weaving it into claws, revealing it as these green strands in the world.
Ooh, Strand finisher.
Green was definitely like something that we were excited about because it stood apart from other damage types. It kind of gave it like its own visual language.
It's true.
World
Stasis is
strands
kind
are the
of
things that are like more
blue.
organic, flowing. It almost looks like a curtain of strands that flicker in and out of reality. The idea of like the
Green is
strings,
definitely
like
different.
the strands lighting up the world. I think that was when
Yo,
everything kind of started
that's
to come
cool.
together, and like that starts to then influence what's the design, what is the VFX going to look like, what does audio sound like for it.
We really wanted to visually show that there's some sort of order in the universe or some sort of chaos. But when players take it in, they're weaving these weapons of destruction.
When developing Strand, we wanted the emotional fantasy to be based on
Oh dang, the range
ropes
is
and
actually further on that
strings,
than I thought.
and the mechanical fantasy to be rapid movement, creating objects out of these strands.
When you are in
I love
each
that
of your
melee
super
thing, that's so
states,
sick.
you have these strand elements that are on you that are connected from above. Things that you create are constantly revealing this world of strands around you.
Once again, I still love that concept that
Threaded
strands are
Spike,
all
the
around.
Hunter's melee ability will bounce between enemies until it can't find anymore, and then it will come back to me. If
That thing's so
press
cool.
the melee button again,
Reminds me of,
as it comes back
I
to
think
me,
it's- his
I will
name's
catch
Yondu
it, and that
from
gives
Guardians of the
me
Galaxy.
melee energy for the next
He
time
has
I
that
want to use
little
it.
arrow
As a
that he like
VFX
whistles and it
artist,
goes
we
everywhere.
came up with this idea of when it goes out, let's put a bunch of additional communication on it to make it look more dangerous. And when it comes back, we don't add that stuff, and it's simpler, and then it feels less dangerous. And then that's when we know
So
that
cool, you can
we
catch
did
it
it
too,
right,
and
when you're
reset
not
it.
even questioning it. But getting to that point is definitely a challenge, and each one of the strand
It's like a
abilities,
hammer that
I
comes
feel
back.
like have these little twists in there.
It's so important
So
that
sick.
you can tell what it is at a moment's notice.
And then as we go through the process, there's revisions and refining it based off of play tests.
Sometimes there are small visual changes. Sometimes it's like overall big differences. And I think a good example is the Titan Super.
We had this really cool swipe attack that was severing enemies, but it was hard to chase those enemies down. We need a long-range attack for the Titan that is going to enable us to get close to the melee attack and attack them. And Suspend was a natural
Okay,
choice
so
for
the
that.
right click suspends
One
them.
really cool thing we're introducing with Strand
And it has
is
pretty
the
good
ability
range.
to suspend combatants. Combatants are lifted up into the air, they're suspended in these strand webs.
Their limbs are now like connected to these invisible strands and they are vulnerable. Then you can then start to set up combos on top of that, or even just, I need to take a breath moment.
That really gives you and then your fire team members an opportunity to kind of set up 1-2 punch kind of combos. Sometimes you can use it more as utility and provide support for your team, and so I think that's going to create like a lot of opportunities where Strand's going to be valuable no matter what.
Very
I
nice
think
to
it was
keep enemies
really
still
that
as well.
moment where everything kind of like clicked, and we're like everyone on the team was like, oh, I get what Strand is now.
Well, that was a waveframe, was it
A
not?
big part of Strand looking at the
Is that a
concept
heavy
art that we tried
waveframe?
to clue into was the idea of cosmic webs. What do cosmic webs sound like?
I love when
Anything
they
that
do
kind
sound
of
effects.
evoked a feeling of tension and pulling,
Oh,
things like recording
that's creative.
as rubbing on plastics, leather gloves.
We would string out a big sheet of plastic wrap and running our fingers along it in really weird performative ways.
we actually start taking these sounds and combining them together and creating new things that are starting to sound a little bit more like something that could be put into the game.
Little behind the scenes
kind
sound.
of the fun part of the sound design process that really brings everything together.
Yo, what?
Some wacky
They
things
use
have
a
happened as
ball
we've
and a
developed
balloon for
strands,
that?
interactions we didn't necessarily anticipate. When you pick up a tangle and you throw it, you can grapple to that tangle, and you're sailing through the air after
Oh
the
my
tangle, which can then
God.
hit an enemy, blow them up, and then you just swoop in and
Bro,
follow
Strand
up.
looks so
Designers will
fun.
find these bugs that will come back and be like, oh, actually, you can do this. And you're like, let's double down on that, you know? Let's make that bug a feature.
Let's make that bug a feature based.
One of the coolest things about the way that we work at Bungie is we will take someone's awesome idea, and through playtesting, through iteration, we can keep tweaking it and make the idea better.
And then as we start to add the animation support, the VFX support, the audio support, that's when it really starts to come to life. All of that
they
goes
just did
into
a
making
stun.
Strand this quality new damage type.
You can imagine how it could work on paper, but then when we actually have the final result, wow, this is gonna be something special.
And feels like nothing else I've ever played before.
As players experiment and figure out all the weird things they can do, they're gonna get even more excited.
Oh yeah, this is cool. Like,
You're like,
this is it.
It is cool.
Once it goes live, then it's like, all right, let's see where players take it, and that's actually really exciting.
I cannot wait to see the crazy stuff people do with the grapples, man. It's gonna be insane. All right, well, there is the Strand Developer Insights. That actually was really nice. I'm glad they did that. That's really sick. I cannot wait to get my hands on Strand. So excited for Lightfall next week. I cannot believe it's next week. What do you guys think? Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you all later.